Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is an exciting one because I'll be showing you our newly expanded sugarplum fairy collection, which recently came out for our winter launch. This is a set I did using all of the gels. It's a Wonka inspired whimsical winter set, so I'll be showing you how I did this step by step as well. I used every shade from the collection for this video, so stay tuned and I hope you enjoy. So this winter launch was a celebration of our 1-year anniversary. We brought back our first ever collection, the Sugarplum Fairy Collection, with 2 new bonus shades. So the 8 original shades come in this really fun themed box. I love the design and theme of it. It comes with a brand new swatch card, which includes the 2 new bonus shades as well. We have a new sticker, and be sure to check out our website for all of the fun kind of bundle and discounted deals we have through the month of December only. You can get the full original collection with 2 new bonus shades basically for free at the original collection price through December only. Use code YouTube to save 10%. This is the first bonus shade. It's called Fairy Tears, and it is this really stunning semi-sheer kind of soft milky pink with this really fine golden shimmer in it. It's the perfect base if you want something kind of elegant but subtle with like a pop of color, or for nail art. Then we have Cozy Burrow, so excited to have a brown in our collection. This is like a chocolate brown with a fine metallic shimmer. Now for the original shades, Blue Hour, my personal favorite out of all of our shades. It's like a midnight purplish blue with a really stunning electric color shift. Winter's Veil, definitely my most used color probably out of all of our shades. It's a true white pearlescent shade, very elegant, very like bridal and wedding coated as well. Next we have a neon green with another like gold shimmer in it, Frozen Meadows. Very fun. If you don't normally like neon green, this one might change your mind. And this collection definitely has range and some unique colors because we also have a jelly shade, Crystal Dewdrop. It's like icicles in a bottle, a really soft jelly blue, very buildable as well. Then we have Plum Elixir. This one has a really stunning shimmer to it as well. All of the shimmers are like very fine. There's like no chunky glitters. Aurora Petal, another fan favorite. This color literally looks like it's glowing. It has a really stunning kind of chrome shift in it. We also have a solid shade in this collection, Rose Solstice, and then finally Pixie Dust. I had to turn the flash on so you can see the really fun kind of rainbow holographic finish to this. Very perfect for winter. I feel like this is our most fun collection. I love all of our collections, but there's just something very fun and versatile about this one, so be sure to check it out. And all of the kind of fun deals we have. We even have like a discounted duo for the bonus shades, and here's a fun animation that we have for this collection as well. I hope you enjoyed that, and let's get into the nail tutorial for the Wonka set. So for my launch set, I wanted to do something very whimsical and winter themed, and Wonka felt like the perfect fit. So I'm starting off with Blue Hour, my personal favorite shade, and we're gonna do like a cozy nighttime lamppost design. Some of these elements are just kind of influenced by the vibe of the movie, but we'll definitely be doing more like motifs and designs like directly from the movie throughout this set. I'm sponging on some white over that kind of gold reflective color, and then I'm adding our Crystal Dewdrop over that just to make it look a little bit more foggy, a little bit more like a winter nighttime scene, and kind of build up the effect of some snow in the background, which we'll be adding more of later. For the lamppost, I'm drawing a straight line with some black gel, just extending out the base and then drawing an elongated triangle for the top of the lamppost, and a smaller version of that elongated triangle here, just for the base of that as well. There's a lot of like city scenery in this movie. I watched it like almost 2 times through just to like for research purposes and kind of figure out how I wanted to put together the set, so I thought a lamppost would be perfect to add in. I added some white at the center and cured, and now I'm taking our art glass gels, my favorite for shading, dimension, and just adding like glowing effects. So I'm adding golden hour first, curing that, and then we'll be taking etched ember, which is a fiery orange, and using that just to add a little bit more warmth around the edges. If you want to brighten things up, kind of bring up the highlights. You can add a little bit of white at the center, and then I'm taking golden hour again and just using that all around the lamppost. I say this in every video, but our art glass gels really make adding detail and dimension so easy and shading because they blend out so easily because it is a jelly formula. So adding details like the glow, super easy to do with these gels. Now we are adding some snow, so I'm taking our Winter's Veil gel polish. I stippled on the first layer. I'm not going for like a hyper realistic look, but I didn't want the snow to just look like a white square that I've painted on. So I stippled on the first layer, cured, and the second layer, I'm using a little bit of like swirling and stippling motions and adding more on the sides just to kind of make it look like a pile of snow. And the pearlescent gel, when you swirl it around, it creates like a true kind of pearly dimensional effect. So that's great for the snow effect as well. Again, it just adds dimension and layers. You can also use it to create some dots for the snow as well if you wanted to add some falling snow. So I just added that all around the lamppost. Then I'm taking that same kind of yellowish reflective gold color and using that on top of the snow just to create like a little bit of where that reflection and shadow would be from the lamppost. This is the potential new product that I'm testing out. I do like the color of it, so stay tuned to see if it ends up getting released or what ends up happening with that. So here's the final result top coated. I just love this design. It's so cozy and I feel like it's very beginner friendly if you break it down step by step. It wouldn't be a Wonka set without some candy and just like 3D candy elements and things like that. So I'm starting off with Cozy Burrow, which is one of our new shades. A very like chocolate brown with a very fine shimmer to it. I thought purple would contrast really nice with this, and purple's a big theme in the Wonka movie. So I'm taking our Velvet Locket gel polish. This is one of our solid color gels that released with our Halloween collection. She's very smooth, she's very pigmented, makes doing line work like this very easy. You can see it's covering that brown very nicely. So I'm just drawing some alternating stripes all throughout the nail just to create kind of like that candy inspired background before we do some 3D nail art. We're gonna be sculpting the Wonka bar from the movie. So I'm taking some clear 3D gel and I'm just pinching it at the corners to try to make a square shape. And then I can also use my silicone tool here just to refine that. I'm trying to make it as square as possible. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, but it's supposed to represent like the Wonka bar with the candy wrapper on it, which you'll see. I'll insert a picture. And then I like to use our art gel brush with some alcohol just to smooth out the gel before I cure it. The base color for the 3D gel, I'm going to use Plum Elixir. This is a really stunning color. It gives me like Harry Potter vibes too, but it was perfect for the candy bar, the shimmer in it, and kind of the deep plum base. It even has like subtle kind of like black undertones in it. For the brown portions of the wrapper, I'm just taking a light kind of brownish beige color and drawing kind of an oval. It's almost like an eye shape, filling that in. And for the lettering, I just opted to do the W from the Wonka symbol on the candy bar, just using our Velvet Locket gel again, just a little bit of that on a long liner brush. I cured and then I added just a little bit of Plum Elixir over it, just to add a little bit more detail and help it blend and match more cohesively with the base of the 3D gel. And then I added some Cozy Burrow around the edges again, that new brown shade, just to help it match a little bit more as well. And just went ahead and top coated it all around on the base as well. And this is how it turned out. The brown and purple combo was perfect for this nail. And I love the little 3D candy wrapper. And here's how it looks under the flash, just so you can see more of that shimmer. The Plum Elixir base was really shining through. You can really see it a lot better with the flash for sure. Next, we're using our second new base, Fairy Tears. This is that semi-sheer pink with that gold shimmer. So I just applied 2 layers of that since it is a semi-sheer color. If you want it to be a little bit more opaque, I would definitely recommend doing 2 layers. Now, this nail is not necessarily in the Wonka movie, but it is in the 2005 Tim Burton version. I think it was released in 2005. But we're gonna do the chocolate river with kind of the green meadows over it. So I'm starting off with Frozen Meadows, which is that neon green gel. It was perfect for the base of kind of the meadow scenery before we add the chocolate river. This color is also perfect for Grinch nails this holiday season. As far as like the proportions and stuff went for this nail, this was like a total freestyle. I just kind of mapped out where I thought the different meadow kind of arrangements should go and how big and small they should be and angled. But I pretty much tried to make it almost like a pattern across the nail. But some designs like this, you kind of just have to go for it. And usually once you start adding all the different elements and the shading and details, it comes together. So I ended up adding the darker brown underneath with some black gel for some shading, just to add a little bit more effect of it being like a meadow. Now I'm adding our verdant glaze gel over that, our art glass gel, just kind of on the top and on the sides to, again, make it look a little bit more 3D. This is what the art glass gels are so great for, because they don't overtake the design or the base color. They really just kind of enhance it and help it look not so flat. I'm also stippling on a little bit of kind of this whitish mint color. I wanted to kind of create a little bit more of a frosty effect since it is a winter theme. Also just helps it look a little bit more like a meadow or grass, and again, not so flat. And usually a shorter brush, like a 5mm or even smaller, like a detailer brush, works really well for stippling and stuff like this, just because the hairs aren't so long, so it just kind of works better with this technique. And of course, for the chocolate river, we had to use our cozy burrow shade again, because it literally reminds me of like melted chocolate. So I'm just drawing kind of the outline of where the chocolate river will go for the first layer, and then I added a second layer of that color just to help it look a little bit more opaque and just kind of really finalize where those details are. And then for the kind of river effect, I mixed cozy burrow with some 3D or rhinestone glue, and I'm just swirling that around and using a longer liner brush just to kind of draw these long alternating lines, just to kind of mimic the effect of like a river, like ripples in the water or whatever you want to call it. It just helps it look, again, not so flat and kind of add to that effect of it being the chocolate river. I think it looked really fun against the cozy burrow background, and you could even probably just do this with like a clear gel, but if you mix it with the brown color, it'll definitely enhance that effect a little bit. And of course, for the Christmassy kind of winter theme, had to add some candy canes. I feel like that might have even been in the Wonka movie, but I'm just sketching out where they go with a white gel. It doesn't need to be perfect because I am adding Winter's Veil over this. This just adds a really nice kind of subtle effect with the white kind of pearlescent gel. Looks like almost a little bit more glowy. And then I'm adding the stripes with just our rose solstice gel polish and then top coating, and I'm done with this nail. It wouldn't be a Wonka set without some sort of chocolate river, and cozy burrow was absolutely perfect for that, along with the other kind of sugar plum fairy gel. So I really had a lot of fun doing this one. It was definitely a little bit more of a challenge, but I love how it turned out. The next nail is going to be the kind of iconic balloon scene where Wonka's flying over the city or the zoo with the balloons. So I used Blue Hour for the nighttime background, and then I'm using some 3D gel to kind of sculpt the building that he's flying over. I just thought it would be fun with the 3D gel. This is a pearlescent gel. And as you can see, this 3D gel's pearlescent glow is very vibrant, and we do have 3D gels in the works, so you'll have to stay tuned to see how that pans out. But here's a sneak preview of it. I'm using a Costco card just to carve the lines into it. You can use a credit card, library card, and then I added some golden hour over it just to enhance kind of the warmth of it. And I'm also going to use our Aurora petal gel just so that I can add a little bit of pink as well. This also kind of looks like a waffle, so I feel like this combo would be good for like 3D waffle nails or like food nails. But I'm adding some of that Aurora petal just to some alternating squares to, again, add some contrast, a little bit of different colors. And for the balloons, I'm pretty much going to be using a ton of our different gels. This was like a great opportunity to just use a bunch of different colors. So I went in with Frozen Meadows, Rose Solstice, October Breeze, which is from our Halloween collection, Potion Garden. These are like our solid colors. So you'll see me go in with a whole bunch of these solid gels and even like shimmer gels, because it's supposed to be basically a giant bouquet of balloons that Wonka is flying with. So I pretty much used like a lot of different colors that we have. I didn't want to repeat too many different colors. It was really nice to kind of do something a little bit more simple, but that was part of a, bigger design, again, with that balloon bouquet. So I'm taking all of these gels as well, Pixie Dust, Winter's Veil. I'm also using our art gel, Supernova, Seventh House. We do have an entire art gel collection. They have a much thicker consistency than our gel polish, so they're really fun to use as well. We've got like a solid red, which is fun to use. We've got the bubblegum pink. So again, I'm pretty much just adding all these different colors, and I'm trying to keep the arrangement more or less kind of round, as you can see, trying to create a little bit of a circle with the edges of the balloon, just so it kind of creates a circle kind of outline at the top, but then tapers in for the bottom of the bouquet. The final touches are pretty simple as well. You just want to take some black gel and draw some strings at the bottom, just coming to one point. And that was it for this nail. I just went ahead and top coated that. I've top coated the 3D gel as well. It was definitely tedious doing all the different balloons, but I love how it turned out. And it definitely is kind of like a direct reference to the movie. Next nail, we are doing some 3D candy from the movie as well. We're starting off with silver linings, I think is what the candy is called. So for the cloud, I did a few different balls of 3D gel, like in the same arrangement I would use to draw a cloud. And then I went ahead and just pressed them down and flattened them, and then used kind of this tapered silicone tool. It's kind of like a typical silicone tool to just make sure those edges and corners were really defined. And again, the base on this is the fairy tears color. So this is like a cloud shaped candy that is a part of the movie as well. I'm just using my art gel brush to use some alcohol to flatten out and kind of make sure the gel is nicely blended together. And then just a very simple circle. We're gonna do like some candy cane mints as well. And of course I had to use Winter's Veil for the cloud, the 3D cloud. And then I'm also going to, this was my first attempt at trying to do a little bit of like the icing texture nail. So I mixed the rhinestone glue, Winter's Veil, and acrylic powder, but I don't think I added enough acrylic powder, or maybe I didn't use the right 3D gel. But either way, I got a little bit of a thicker mixture, but it also may have just been the design I'm doing, so it might not show up as well on the camera, but I was basically trying to create a little bit of that fluffy like icing texture, but nevertheless, we gave it a try, so it still turned out really nice, but I'm just using that all over the base just to cover the entire cloud. It still looks very soft and like a cloud, so it wasn't too bad. And this is how it looks if you don't do it with the Winter's Veil base. You just kind of do it over the 3D gel. It's not as opaque, so you can kind of experiment and see how it goes. And then I'm using crystal dewdrop to just add a little bit of dimension and shading around the cloud, just to add a little bit of blue around that. This color just blends so nicely. And then we're also going to use fairy tears to create the peppermint or candy cane details as well. This is a very fun design to do for the holiday nails. You're just going to do alternating curved lines from the center. And then for the final details, you have to add the lightning bolt to the silver linings candy. It is one of the details on the candy, so I'm just using yellow for that, and then again using golden hour just to soften that a little bit. And then we can go ahead and cure and add our top coat over the 3D gel. I usually just use a brush with the top coat over it to seal in any 3D elements, and I absolutely love how this nail turned out. It was just so fun, and the 3D cloud actually turned out really nice. I don't always love sculpting with like colored 3D gel, but I love using like clear gel and painting over it most of the time is what I found recently. Next up, we are painting Abigail the giraffe. So I started off with Cozy Burrow as the base, and I just added some kind of whimsical swirly lines for a border using that same velvet locket gel polish. Now at first I wasn't sure if I was going to attempt to paint the giraffe, Abigail the giraffe from the movie, but I figured why not give it a shot, see how it goes. So I custom mixed a softer yellow color. I mixed some kind of like beige gel polish with the yellow just so it's a little bit softer. And I'm starting off with a large circle at the bottom and then 2 smaller circles for the eyes. We're connecting from the corners of the eyes to where the bottom of the mouth is, and I extended that out a little bit just because the proportions were a little bit off. And I'm just sketching out where the nose area will be. We're just kind of getting the basic outline in there now. I added a little bit more brown into this yellow just so it's a little bit differentiated from the face. The rest of the face, we'll see that in a bit. Added a half circle and some jelly bean shapes for the nose. We'll come back and enhance these details as well. Keep connecting those curved lines for the rest of the face. Added 2 little dots with kind of an M shape between them for the ears. No, not the ears. What are those called? They're like the horns, but these are the actual ears. Basically almost like a leaf shape for each of them. And again, just filling in that yellow and then using the rest of that yellow to fill in the rest of the face. I ended up doing 2 thin coats of that just so it doesn't wrinkle. Now for the details, so like where the horns are, again, did like an M shape between them to connect it, and then like a really curved shape between the 2 ears. But I'm just taking a brown and I'm concentrating that at the top of the horn and then feathering that down. This is a very much so trust the process thing. Like once all the shading and layers come together, it looks good. So just keep feathering that down. It should be like more gradual as you get towards the bottom, and then you're gonna repeat on the other side as well. Using that same brown for the inside of the ears, just filling that in, leaving the part around it more yellow. Now I'm using our golden hour gel polish pretty much over the entire face, and this is where everything starts to kind of blend together, look a little bit more cohesive, add a little bit more warmth and dimension and detail to the face. And it's so simple to do with just like this one jelly color. So I went ahead and just added that pretty much all over the face and bringing that down as well. Made it a little bit lighter under the eyes, and then added a second layer more concentrated at the center, like right above the nose area and the forehead area, and then under the eyes as well. Now I'm taking Crimson Wash and Etched Ember as well from the Art Glass Jellies, and I'm gonna be using like a little bit of both, just a little bit amount of that. Like I'm dipping my brush in the orange and the red, and then just using it like around the ears. I don't want them to be like completely red or orange, but again, just enhancing the color there. Using that on the nose area as well, just to differentiate that a little bit from the rest of the face. And I know I say it like a million times, but our Art Glass Jellies just make it so easy. Like it's really helped me take my art to the next level and just make like shading and dimension so easy, especially if you like a more like kind of subtle, softer style like this, which I definitely do. Now mixing some brown with some top coat just so it's not too opaque. We're going to start drawing these circles. Don't worry about them being perfect. Just kind of space them out and leave them uncured, because we're going to go and back and blend them out just so they're not too intense. Again, I'm going for a little bit more of like, it's not a hyper realistic look. It's not like super character nail art either. Something kind of in between, just kind of soft, subtle, and whimsical. So I'm taking a blending brush and just blending out those brown dots ever so slightly, just so they blend into the face a little bit more. They look a little bit more cohesive, but you still have the giraffe dots there. So we're just blending them out a little bit. Don't want to do it completely to where all the color is gone. You want to make sure the dots are smaller towards the face and larger away from them. You can also add some small dots around the nose area and then blend those out as well, just so you have a little bit of that detail there as well. This is my first time drawing any sort of animal like this, and I feel like it turned out really nicely. I don't think it was too bad for my first time. So I went ahead and took some black gel, and I'm just redefining those areas where the snout and the nose is, like the jelly bean shape. We also have to add like the side of the neck. So I'm just repeating the same process with that light yellow mixture for the base, then layering golden hour over that to add more of that kind of orangish yellow giraffe color. And same thing with the brown spots, use the brown gel. You can make it more defined and even more opaque for the neck, but I did the same technique of kind of blending them out a little bit just so they're not too like polka dots, I guess. And then I'm just taking a brown gel polish and outlining everything. And that was it. This nail probably took me the longest out of all of them, but I'm very happy with how it turned out, you know, stepping out of our comfort zone, trying something different. And I think I did a pretty good job for my first time painting an animal. So just goes to show you never know what you can do until you actually try it out. And try to follow like simple tutorials, like drawing tutorials and things like that. Simple references helps a ton. Now we're gonna do a little bit more of a winter frosty candy inspired design. So I'm taking Crystal Dewdrop, cured a layer of that, and I'm putting Aurora petal over it. This is just like a super easy way to just have that kind of chrome shift in the background without having to use chrome powder or anything. I saw these kind of like dark fantasy Wonka inspired photos on TikTok. I'm not going to do an exact replica of this, but I was inspired by the aesthetic of it. So I'm going to do kind of like an icy river with like the candy posts. So I'm taking Velvet Locket again and painting that over half of the nail. You can still see Aurora petal shining very brightly in the background. And then I'm taking Crystal Dewdrop just to outline the frosty, like snowy river. I guess it's kind of like an abstract design. This is like definitely more of just like a freestyle where we're just kind of working around a color palette. So I'm using Crystal Dewdrop again at the center for where like the icy river would be, mixing more Aurora petal into that. Bringing out some of the Art Glass Jellies again. Glass Atrium and Violet Prism were perfect to just add a little bit more detail and color, like a subtle layer of color on top of that. And this is definitely one of those designs where we're just kind of going based off the aesthetic and vibes. We're not trying to draw anything super specific, but this is what I really love about the Sugar Plum Fairy collection is the colors themselves are just so fun to play with. And then I'm taking Winter's Veil and I'm drawing some snow, though I ended up removing some of the snow I drew here at the top and just making that line thinner. You'll see in the next clip. I just felt like just keep it simple, keep it kind of more concentrated at the top, and then of course bring it around the sides as well. This is like a frosty, snowy version of the chocolate river that we did. But I'm taking Midnight VHS and other solid color bars, drawing kind of an arch at the center, sponge some black on top of that, and then using the glass atrium and violet prism jellies just to create like almost like a rainbow design, but we're just creating like these alternating arches. Taking Winter's Veil again just to create some icicles. I'm just starting with kind of a blob and then bringing the polish down to a point, almost like a triangle. And then for the candy post, I'm just taking a few of those same colors that we used for the balloons, drawing a circle, so frozen meadows, fairy tears, and then just taking like the complementary solid color. So I took Potion Garden and Rose Solstice and just drew the pole with those. Same with Blue Hour. Just drew it with like Midnight VHS and then added stripes with that same color again. And then just top coat and you're done. I didn't film all the details for this design, but it was just like a frosty, fun freestyle design. And you can see Aurora petal and that chrome shift like really still like shining through. Added a little bit more snow and kind of like the river area, and just really love like the combo of these colors, and I feel like it really adds to the winter theme. Sometimes I just get so lost in like creating like a freestyle design. Like I don't really know what words to use to describe it to you all for the voiceovers, but hopefully you can follow along and kind of see what I'm going for through the video clips. Now for another kind of more simple motif nail, I'm drawing Wonka's top hat. So I used Fairy Tears for the base. I used Velvet Locket again, that lavender lilac solid color from our Halloween collection. And then I layered Plum Elixir over it. I think Plum Elixir just fits so well with the Wonka theme. I didn't realize until I was doing this set. But when you do the layer of lavender underneath, it just helps the color pop more. And then I'm using one of our art gels, as you saw in the previous clip. It has a thicker consistency, but this is almost like a candy deep berry red. So I just used that to draw the little band. Then using Violet Prism, again, just to add a little bit more outline at the edges, and just drew some stripes with Cozy Burrow. Probably didn't have to do that, but I just wanted to add a little bit more something to tie back again to the brown and pink colors that we just released. So this is how this one turned out. Very on brand with the Wonka theme. Definitely had to add his hat into there. We're gonna do kind of a factory city inspired design. So I used Aurora Petal as the base, and I'm taking our Midnight VHS gel polish. This is one that I used for my Corpse Bride design, this color. It's also from our Halloween collection. And just drawing like these alternating silhouettes of buildings. This is kind of similar to like the lamppost design, you know, like the city themes, the Wonka's factory kind of snowy city design. So I'm just using that Midnight VHS gel polish to fill everything in. I really love this blue. It's like a soft kind of almost retro blue. It's not a pastel blue. It's not a super dark blue, but it's also like not your typical average blue, but it's just really nice and it layers really nicely with different colors. So we're just filling in that silhouette, and then again taking those art glass jellies just to start adding a little bit more color. I'm taking glass atrium. I took some crystal dewdrop as well, just to outline everything and kind of start defining the buildings a little bit. This really is kind of more of like a silhouette design as well. So I took some black gel polish mixed with top coat, and I'm just adding that at the very top and kind of not sponging, but stippling that down just so it's less subtle at the bottom, but more defined at the top. Again, it just adds a little bit more dimension and shading and depth at the top. You can go back and add a second layer, but I am trying to concentrate it more at the top and then bring less down to the bottom. Add a little bit of squares and circles, just simple shapes for the windows. And of course, I'm using Golden Hour again, our art glass jelly, to add the glowing window effect. I don't know, there's just something about like drawing the glowing windows that it just never gets old, and it's just so easy with this gel. So you just apply it over the cured white gel, and you want to bring it out around the shapes as well, just so it creates that glow around it as well. And then I'm just taking some white with the sponge. I know it looks kind of crazy right now, but if you keep kind of sponging and have like minimal product on your sponge, you know, kind of wipe it off if needed, it'll even out. But I did want to do a layer of snow over the entire building, but just keep sponging it out and you'll end up with something that looks like this, where it's a little less subtle, but it's definitely there. Added some more detail with the winter's veil and glass atrium, and this is how it turned out. Definitely achieved the vision I was going for with kind of the frosty, snowy city factory design. For the final nail, we're doing some more 3D candy. So I'm doing a 3D chocolate bar, of course. It wouldn't be Wonka without like an actual chocolate bar, like with the chocolate actually showing. So I'm just taking some 3D gel, I'm pinching the corners and using our swatch card to add in the cubes. You can use any card really. Now I'm doing the hoverchoc, which is the candy from Wonka. I'll insert a picture, but it's like this kind of yellowish green candy that flies. Oh, I actually added a clip here with my phone. Perfect. So it's this candy right here. So I tried to add in some candies from the actual movie. So I did the middle part first with the yellow and golden hour over it. Then I went ahead and just did the chocolate bar because that was super easy. You just put cozy burrow over it, and then you can use some black gel to define the grids a little bit more if you want. And then I did the kind of shell of the hoverchoc separately. So I did a similar kind of triangle shaped 3D gel, layered that over it and cured, used our Potion Garden gel polish for the base, and then added a few polka dots with October Breeze. So I just did it in pieces so that we have the layer 3D gel effect. So you'd want to just do the first layer on the inside, cure it, and then add the two kind of leaves or shell around it. And then just went ahead and top coated it, and this is how it turned out. So kind of complementing the other candy nail we did with the clouds. So here's how all 10 nails turned out all together. It's not a super perfectly matching set, but there's obviously some cohesive themes throughout it, and I love how all the different colors pair together. I've been really loving these freestyle sets lately and like just immersing myself into whatever theme I'm trying to bring to life. So I hope you enjoyed, and as I mentioned, the expanded Sugar Plum Fairy collection is available now. Link is in the description to shop any of our products. Use code YouTube to save 10%, and stay tuned for more winter videos to come, and I'll see you in my next video.